What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a whole dedicated first impression on a bunch of new drugstore products. I just went to the drugstore and I just picked up a bunch of things that kind of caught my eye, that got me excited, some new things, some things that I personally just haven't tried before, and we are going to be putting everything to the test today. You guys, I found such winners in today's video, and there are some products in here that are very comparable to higher end makeup products, which I will be getting into obviously as I apply everything and give you guys all of my first impressions. All right, so I hope you guys are going to enjoy it, and let's get right into it. So we are going to start off first with the face. I did already go in to prep my skin with my Neutrogena Bright Boost Moisturizer with SPF 30. This is just a great basic moisturizer. It really does the trick. And now we are going to jump right into the base. But before I do, I want to just quickly talk about Quo, because when I walked into the drugstore, I saw that there was a brand new display filled with these Quo beauty products. Now, if you don't know what Quo is, it's a Canadian brand that has not been rebranded in a very, very long time. I have felt that it's been kind of like outdated over the years. Quo was just never really a brand that I was ever really drawn to. So when I saw this new display, I got really excited because it was pretty much a full new collection of makeup products. I gotta say, they did a wonderful job for this rebranding, because I mean, it caught my eye pretty immediately, and they even used millennial pink as their accent color for their products. So clearly they're on trend. So right away, my eyes were drawn towards these cream blushes. These are called the Featherweight cream blushes. And I mean, do these strike you as familiar? Because they look literally identical to the Glossier Cloud Paints. They are pretty much the exact same packaging, the same little like paint tube format. So that got me kind of excited, because I still find it pretty difficult to find really, really good cream and liquid blushes and bronzers at the drugstore. I still haven't really found a formula that I'm absolutely in love with. So very excited to try this. If it's at all similar to the Glossier Cloud Paints, it's going to be a huge win. Very similar to another Glossier product is this foundation. This looks exactly like the Glossier skin tint. I don't know if the formula is supposed to be similar, because this is called a liquid foundation with 8-hour wear, and the Glossier skin tint is like a super sheer formula that really is not meant to last like 8 hours. It's not a long wearing formula. So interested to see how this is actually going to look on the skin. So needless to say, very excited to try out these products. So we are first going to go in with the primer. I picked up the Quo Beauty Golden Glow Primer. This just looks like a typical glowy primer. So this is what the product looks like. This reminds me a lot of the L'Oreal Lumi Glotion. Okay. This is slightly concerning. I am so reflective right now. This is quite a reflective primer. This is not normally something that I would put all over my face. For something like this, I would either just mix in like 1 or 2 drops into my foundation just to kind of add a bit of a glow to that foundation, or I would just pinpoint it on the high points of my face. So I hope I didn't just sabotage my entire look by applying this. It's just very intense, but I'm sure it'll be okay. Things could be worse. Okay, so now let's go into the Quo Beauty Liquid Foundation. So I got the shade Honey W5. I totally guessed my shade in the store. I really don't know if this is gonna match me. Ooh, this may be a little bit too orange for me, but hopefully this is a sheer product where it's not going to look too crazy. It seems to be a pretty liquidy texture. Gonna apply that with my sponge. Ooh, coverage, okay. That is way more coverage than I expected. For some reason, I really did think that this was going to be similar to the Glossier skin tint. So very little coverage, but there's a lot of coverage to this actually. This is like a solid medium to full. That's kind of crazy. That coverage is actually kind of insane. I dipped my sponge into the product once, and I was able to cover my entire face with just that one tap. And it's not even just that I was able to cover my entire face, but my entire face is like blanked out. This is full coverage. The color actually didn't end up being so bad at all. It blends into my body pretty much perfectly. So I guess I lucked out for that one. So here's what my skin looks like up close with this product. I feel like because this is quite a lightweight serum-y texture, it does look quite lightweight on the skin, even though this is a pretty full coverage product. Okay, so those are my immediate thoughts, but we definitely have to let this sit and settle on my face because things can turn south really quickly, especially with foundation. So far so good, but we'll see. So I think I'm just gonna jump straight into the eyes and then we'll come back to the face a little bit later. I got so many different eyeshadow palettes. I'm really not sure what I'm gonna use today. I'll show you guys everything that I got though. This is the Pixie and Heart Defensor eyeshadow palette. It looks so pretty. Lots of really pretty warm tones and raspberry shades. I also picked up this new palette from Milani. This is called Golden Nudes. It's a pretty basic neutral palette. I do normally really like the Milani eyeshadows, which is why I picked this up. I thought that it could be pretty promising. In the same collection, I also picked up Gilded Pastel, which is a pastel eyeshadow palette. And then I also got these two little Milani palettes. This one is the Most Wanted eyeshadow palette in Rosy Revenge, and then this one is in the shade Burning Desire. So we have like these pinky purpley tones and then kind of like these rusty tones. And then the last eyeshadow product that I got is this guy from Pixie. This is the Glittery Eye Quad in Gold Lava, and it is a quad of 4 very glittery eyeshadows. So I think we are definitely going to be using one of these today because I mean they look gorgeous and I'm very interested to see how they're going to apply. Oh, I almost forgot, I also got this little eyeshadow from Essence. This is the Melted Chrome eyeshadow in the shade Warm Bronze. It's just another really shimmery, gorgeous eyeshadow. So I think today I'm gonna go in with the Milani Most Wanted palette in Rosy Revenge. I just really like these pink tones in here. Really excited to try them out, and I think it'll pair beautifully with one of these really shimmery shades. So first I'm going to mix this light pink shade with the medium pink shade. I'm gonna mix the two together to create a transition shade, and I'm just gonna buff that above the crease of my eye. So now I'm gonna go into this raspberry shade right here on a pretty dense crease brush. This one's from ColourPop, it's the E9. And I'm hoping I'm gonna be able to build up some pigment into my crease. These eyeshadows are definitely not very pigmented. I'm slightly disappointed. The neutral palettes they came out with, I think like a year or two ago, those were so good. So automatically I just kind of assumed that this would be of similar quality, but I just find that the pigment is kind of lacking. I actually feel like on camera it looks way more intense than it does in person, which is kind of weird, but it's very light, and I'm digging my brush into here and kind of getting nothing out of it. Okay, I'm not really a big fan of the way that this palette is applying, so I think I'm gonna go into something else here. So I'm actually gonna go into the Pixie palette and I'm gonna grab the dark brown shade right here on the same little brush. I'm hoping that this is going to give me a little bit more depth. Yeah, this is definitely applying a lot better. I'm gonna go in with the Essence eyeshadow, which I'm actually very excited to try. So right away, the shadow feels kind of like a powder to cream formula. It's very smooth and literally feels creamy, although it is a powder. So I'm pretty happy with that. Ooh, it's really pretty. Should I swipe that on my lid? This kind of gives me Hourglass Scattered Light vibes. It's not as shimmery, but it has a very similar effect on the eyes. Very pretty, I like that a lot. I really love how glossy that just made my lids look. It's such a pretty color. I feel like a lot of people would really love this shade. It's a very like classic warm brown that will complement a ton of different skin tones. So this one is definitely a win. I really like this. Okay, you know what? I could hear you yelling at me from here, so I'm just gonna go into the Pixie glitter. I'm gonna pick up a teeny tiny bit with my finger, like I'm barely even pressing onto the pen. So I just want a little scattering of glitter on my lids. And I'm just gonna pat this on top. Ooh, very pretty. On top of this brown. Just to add a little bit of extra pop. Ooh, that was a great idea. I'm patting myself on the back for that one. I think this is likely how I would use these eyeshadows. I don't think I would ever really pack these onto my lid because they are so glittery and intense. I feel like they're way more wearable and kind of just easy to incorporate into looks when you just give a nice scattered effect to the lid with the product. That is very pretty. I feel like that just took this look from like here to here. I definitely do feel like this glitter and this metallic shade really saved this look. I am not very impressed with these Milani shadows. The only shade in here that I feel like is really pretty is the metallic shade at the top over here, but the mattes just don't really have the pigment that I was hoping. I mean, look at that. It's a little bit or a lot of it patchy. Like, look at how that's swatched on the back of my hand. Ooh, not so good. So I think I would probably pass on these. So for my mascara today, I'm gonna go in with my Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect Mascara. This is the waterproof formula. This is not a new product for me. I've had this in my collection forever. This is probably one of my favorite drugstore mascaras though. It's very, very intense. It really makes your lashes look pretty fake, honestly. It gives them a very long and voluminous effect. All right, so now we're gonna move on to the concealer. This is the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Hydrating Concealer. This one is in the shade Light Medium. The fact that it says that it's hydrating got me kind of excited because I hope that this is going to make my under eyes look very moist. Not really sure what to expect with this. Okay, let's just blend out one side at a time. I'm gonna go in with my Beauty Blender again. Ooh, you guys, I actually really, really like that a lot. I do feel like that made my under eyes look a little bit moist, which which I really like. I feel like my under eyes actually look hydrated. This is definitely not a full coverage concealer at all. I was able to tell as soon as I started to applying this, it has a lot of translucency to it. So I would say this is more of a light to medium coverage, but definitely leaning more on the light side. From what it seems, this looks like it would be really nicely suited for an everyday type of look, but that looks actually quite nice. I really, really like the way that that's sitting underneath my eyes. I also really like that it's not completely blanking out my under eyes. You still do see a little bit of that like natural texture and color coming through, but it's corrected everything to the point where my under eyes still look really nice and bright and fresh. This has been on my eyes for 26 seconds, so I can't get too far ahead of myself, but typically I can tell pretty quickly with concealers whether or not I'm gonna like them, and so far so good with this. So again, we'll see. We'll let this really just sink into the skin. So now let's get into the color products for the face. This is what I'm probably most excited about. First, I am gonna bronze though with a product that I already have in my collection. This is my Physicians Formula Sculpting Bronzer in the shade Toffee. So this is a bronzer that I have already said that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I have kind of discovered how to make this product work, and that is by applying it directly from my sponge to my face instead of drying it on my face and then blending it out. I find that I'm able to get a much more seamless look. That was my main issue with this product, is that I felt like it was a little bit patchy. I also didn't really love the color of this. But now that I am a little bit more tan, I actually find that it complements my skin tone a lot more. So my mind has kind of changed about this product. I do actually kind of like it now. So like I said, I'm just picking it up with my Beauty Blender and just patting it on the areas that I want to bronze. Gives a nice, pretty naturally sun-kissed effect. It's not super intense, which is what I like. So now let's get into the blushes. This is what I've been waiting for the entire video. So I actually have two blushes here. One is a liquid blush and then one is that cream blush that I showed you guys earlier. The liquid blush is called the Dewy Cheek Tint, and I kind of feel like maybe perhaps this can be similar to the Cosmetics serum blushes. I'm not sure, kind of just, you know, spewing out some thoughts at first glance, but I will swatch it and let you guys know if I find the texture is similar. And then of course we have the Featherweight cream blushes. So I first want to open this guy up and just kind of see what it's like. I got the shade Crushing 63, which is this really pretty bright coral red. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow, 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 wow. This is a very, very similar formula to the Cosmetics serum blushes. It has that same kind of oily texture to it, and it shears out in a very similar manner as well. And it has a nice glow. Interesting. Now let's open up one of these guys. Let's crack them open. So I'm gonna open up this shade called Halo 35. This reminds me a lot of Dawn from Glossier. It's a very similar color. It's kind of like a dusty peach. There it is. That's like just a little bit sheared out, and it looks quite nice. I'm actually pretty excited to put this on my face. You guys, I really want to try both. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Okay, I have an idea. I'm gonna put the Dewy Cheek Tint on one side, and then I'm gonna put the Featherweight cream blush on the other. And then so everything matches, I will switch it and layer this one on top and then this one on top of this cheek, so that I'll end up being the same color. So starting off first with the Dewy Cheek Tint, I'm gonna put some on the back of my hand, maybe like a drop or two. Like everything else, I'm gonna take my Beauty Blender to apply this. Just kind of do a little tap, tap, tap. Ooh, guys, it's really pretty. Oh, I like this a lot. Oh my God. That is so pretty. You guys, that is gorgina. Oh my God. I've never said that in my life, but for some reason that just came out of my mouth. And that glow is definitely quite dewy. I am glowing. You do not need a highlighter with a product like this, that's for sure. Now let's do this guy on the other side. So that's what it looks like on the back of the hand. It's a really nice color. I'm just gonna tap, 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 tap. I'm just gonna blend this one out with my finger because I don't wanna cross-contaminate with my sponge. That blends out very easily. Ooh, I love this too. This has such a nice color to it. Oh my God, I love that. I'm so excited right now. Okay, both formulas actually give a pretty similar effect to the cheeks, although this side is definitely more dewy, and that's because the formula is that serum-like formula. So of course you are gonna get a lot more glow. This side, you still get a nice glow like you would typically with like a liquid or cream blush. And I just think it's very, very flattering, and it definitely blended out super easy. You don't even need a brush or a sponge to apply that. I would say compared to the Glossier Cloud Paints, the Glossier Cloud Paints I feel like are a little bit more matte almost. Like they don't have this much glow, or quite this much glow. So similar, but not exactly, but honestly, also similar enough. So I'm just gonna take my sponge and just kind of tap over this side just to make it a little bit more red, so that it matches the other side a little bit more, but both looked really, really similar to one another actually. So these two blushes may just be the best finds from this video. I'm pretty stoked about them. So I almost forgot about my brows. I'm just gonna brush a clear brow gel through them. To be very honest, I'm just not in the mood to do them today. We're pretty much done, but I have 2 different lip products that I want to swatch for you guys. Actually 3, because I have 2 shades from here. I'm gonna swatch them all. I have 1 from Quo and then 2 from Maybelline, which really reminded me quite a bit of the Fenty gloss bombs. So this is called the Lifter Gloss plus Hyaluronic Acid, and this one is in the shade 009 Topaz. I think it's really safe to say that Maybelline was likely very inspired by the Fenty gloss bombs. Let's open this up and see what the doe foot applicator looks like. If it's a big, oversized doe foot applicator, I'm screaming. It is a big, oversized doe foot applicator. I'm not surprised. It smells, oh my God, it smells like cherry vanilla. Okay, so let's put it on and just see what it looks like. Oh yeah. So this is definitely a very pretty gloss, definitely a very similar formula to the Fenty Gloss Bomb. It feels kind of like that thick but not sticky texture, and it also has a pretty intense glass-like sheen. The shade itself, although I feel like it looks more similar in the tube, on the lips I do feel like it's not quite as rosy as the original Fenty Gloss Bomb. But just even besides that, besides trying to compare it to another brand on its own, this is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful gloss. This is a very pretty everyday lip color. I love that it has just a little bit of a hint of a color to it, and it's also obviously extremely glossy. So the next color that I bought is 006 Reef, and this is a nice muted pink. Ooh. Yes, oh, I like this one a lot. I actually think I like this one more than the other one just because it does give a bit more of a tint to the lips, and I'm personally just such a sucker for these types of shades, especially in a gloss formula. I'm gonna get so much use out of these. I like them a lot. Okay, so that's that. Now let's try this guy from Quo. This is called the Sheer Lip Paint. I picked this up specifically because I just felt like it looked a little bit strange, and it was, I don't know, just kind of weird, and I didn't fully understand it, so I wanted to investigate. So I got this nude shade. This is in the color Down to Earth. Ooh, okay, that's what it looks like. Has a tiny little doe foot applicator that's curved. Has no smell to it. Oh, it's literally like a lip oil. Okay. That was very anticlimactic. That gave pretty much no color to the lips, just shine. I mean, I really like the texture of this gloss. I just think if I were to go back in time, I would probably get another color that maybe was a little bit brighter so that on the lips it just gave me something instead of nothing, but feels nice. Just not really the right color for this formula for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this off and put back on my favorite of the 3 that I tried, which is Reef from Maybelline. Okay, so let's rewind and talk about the base, starting off first with that primer that I use, the Quo Golden Glow Primer. This is something that I will never again use all over my face, even though at the end it didn't really make my skin overly metallic. I more so just didn't really love the texture of this. I actually found that it kind of dried out my skin a little bit as I was applying it, and I don't think I mentioned it during this application, but I did find that it was kind of attaching to a lot of my dry patches. As for the foundation, I am actually pretty impressed with the way this is looking. I do think it looks a little bit heavy in certain areas of my face where I am a bit more dry, like near my mouth. I feel like it does look a little bit cakey, but I am really interested to try this with my more typical base. I know doing first impressions on foundations with other first impressions of primers is not always the best idea, but it's kind of just what ended up happening today. So I will absolutely be trying this again with my more typical base prep that I normally do. But overall, I'm mostly really impressed with how much coverage this product has. So I'm really excited to continue to play with this. As far as the eyeshadows go, I really did not like this Milani palette. I feel like the mattes were very chalky and they didn't really have a lot of pigment or pop to them. So I really just didn't like this one. This would be one that I would definitely pass on. The eyeshadow that kind of saved this entire look was definitely the Essence Melted Chrome eyeshadow. I really like how this kind of gave my lids a bit of like a glossy sheen. I just thought it was really pretty. And I also like that the shimmer in here is not super crazy metallic or super over the top intense. It's very, very fine. So I think that this would be an eyeshadow that would be very wearable even for every day. Like, it's not going to be too over the top. 4 winning products from this look for me were absolutely the Quo Dewy Cheek Tint. I mean, do I even need to say anything? It's so beautiful and glowy, and I love the sheerness of it. Just everything about it is so nice. Then of course the Quo Featherweight Cream Blush, same deal, so good. Also the CoverGirl Clean Fresh Hydrating Concealer, very surprised by this. I really, really love the finish of this underneath my eyes. I like the way it feels. I like the coverage that it gave. Just kind of everything about it is super nice. I think for everyday, this is a great concealer. And then lastly, we have the Maybelline Lifter Gloss. Beautiful product. I can't wait to continue to use them, especially the color that I'm wearing on my lips right now. It's so good. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know all of your thoughts down below on everything that I tried today. Give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it and want to see more drugstore related videos. Hit the subscribe button if you want to join the fam and you haven't done that already. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.